Hello, my name is Abby Hancock, and I am presenting my e-portfolio for practicum hours as part of my licensure effort at Fort Hays State University in the Educational Administration track. I live in Centennial, Colorado, which is a suburb of South Denver. I've been a language arts teacher for the majority of my career after I received my BA in English with teaching from Colorado Mesa University in Grand Junction. I've been teaching at my alma mater, Arapahoe High School, for 6 years. This is technically my 7th year of teaching. I teach a variety of preps. I am the head girls JV basketball coach. I'm a member of several different committees and also sponsor several different clubs. My professional goals include potentially being an assistant principal at the middle or high school level in the next few years. I'd like to be in the 10-year range for my teaching career. I'm not quite ready to leave the classroom just yet. I'd like to be a dean of students probably first, just so I can get some of that practice under my belt before being a full-blown assistant principal. I'll try to interview for also head girls varsity basketball coaching positions as well. Potentially in my future personally, I'd like to pursue a degree in educational administration, maybe as a PhD candidate. I'd like to continue to live in South Denver. My fiance and I just bought a house, and my district is really good. My city is really the perfect fit for me. I have no interest in moving away anytime soon. And I assume that in the next 3 to 5 years, since I'll probably stay here to also have kids. In the next 2 years, of course, like I said, I think I'll still be a teacher, but maybe take on more leadership roles within my school. In 5 years, become more like a building leader, like in the form of a dean of students, or maybe an assistant principal in the South Denver area. And then in 10 years, of course, be a full-blown area educational administrator, and maybe working towards my PhD in that area as well. So looking at some other things as part of this portfolio, my program of study is listed next underneath my philosophy of education, which I'll come back to. I did my degree really fast. I did about 14 months, kind of rocked and rolled through this whole thing, and I became kind of obsessed with it. It makes sense why I did it so fast. I truly loved it, and I couldn't take enough classes, so I'm glad I got it done in the time that I did. For my resume, I've got an updated version of it now to include my work within Fort Hays State University's program. I've got my professional summary, my education listing Fort Hays State University. I also have listed the training experience as garnered by my practicum hours, evaluating teachers, designing tools, working within the community, analyzing budgets, mentoring new teachers, leading small groups, talking about the integration of technology, etc. I've got other teaching experience listed here since I spent the majority of my career in the classroom, ways in which I became a highly effective teacher since 2011, adapting purposeful unit plans, meet the changing environment of standards-based learning, delivering writing instruction, which is very important, of course. I assessed and collected data, researched different ways in which lesson planning could be done effectively, implemented classroom policies, etc. I listed other extracurricular and institutional sponsorships as the JV head coach and the Wild Warrior Women co-sponsor. Additional awards listed, memberships and communities I've been a part of as a college athlete, and then of course as a teacher as well. Several certifications and references listed from there. My philosophy of education, why I wanted to kind of end on this before I talked about my activities, is because teaching's been a part of my life for a long time. My mom's a 30-year veteran. I'm a teacher. My twin sister's a teacher. My fiance is too. It's been a part of my life for a long time. So I've seen a lot of different ways in which education has shifted, adapted. But I think one thing's very true is that education is the best chance that students have of becoming successful. I appreciate teachers that are role models. I appreciate teachers that are willing to learn and engage in behavior that test their boundaries a little bit, students and teachers alike. Education is a chance to create and learn, and I think, again, the best instructors, of course, are learners as well. I'll always be in education. I'm never not going to be in education, and even though there's almost foolish things that are being done on our behalf right now, it is still the greatest opportunity that our children have to become better people and become more world-ready citizens of the 21st century. So looking at my activities that I have done for this portfolio, starting with my annotated bibliography, I decided that I wanted to research different formats for school improvement and teacher effectiveness and student growth. Standardized testing is basically going away. There's lots of different emerging models that are suggesting that maybe standardized testing data is something that can be taken away, and teachers can, of course, be measured by different ways that are more innovative, potentially. So, for example, student learning objectives, or just a teaching effectiveness model, and maybe a unified improvement plan that actually goes somewhere. So my 10 articles, and I'll briefly pull them up, have to do with all different types of models. It goes all the way from walkthroughs and what that looks like, to alternative measures like student learning objectives, how achievement testing is really just it's in a bad way right now. It doesn't reflect the achievement of a lot of students. It's got a case study of Finland, how mentoring is a big component of teacher effectiveness, graduate outcomes after high school while they're in college, how No Child Left Behind has kind of needed to be more flexible, student learning objectives, as I said, and of course, school and student improvement for better evidence. As part of my activities as well, of course, listed here are a set of artifacts that prove kind of ways in which I was able to work within the district. A lot of this has to do with kind of standard 6 ideas, being ahead of the dialogue that exists for education right now in our political and social contexts. I have artifacts from the PLC Tom Maney presentation about PLC effectiveness. I designed this behavior tab. This was an interview with school board vice presidents, school board meeting documents, and of course my work within the Love and Logic program. As a secondary educator, my time with elementary practice was a little bit limited, but there's a couple of pictures that I've done proving my work within the elementary school. Again, kind of working within Standard 4, probably most primarily, but there's a budget, there's some pictures of some systems, master schedule, a school community newspaper, PTO interview, and some other disciplinary actions. This was an art showcase that's a teacher dressed up at an elementary art night. Secondarily, where I have the most of my artifacts because of my role within a secondary school, again, kind of ranges all over the place: emails, unified improvement plan, mission and vision statements, videos that I created for coursework here at FHSU, student learning objective rubrics, mission and vision statement practice, again, more master scheduling, teacher effectiveness, budget. I was a mentor. I was part of disciplinary actions in meetings with students who infracted upon our rules. Here's a picture of me supervising a football game. I did many supervisory roles as a practicum student, other tools that I made, observations I conducted, etc. As part of my reflection, I decided that maybe what I could do the best is to also make kind of a quick presentation. Here is my somewhat lengthy reflection in paper format, but I thought it might be kind of interesting to talk about it in a more colorful way, literally. So here's my reflection of my experiences as listed throughout. So first, I talk about ISLC Standard 1. Within this standard, I really realized why it's listed as number 1. Without a direction for a school, nothing else really matters. Data has to be used continuously to improve the school, and without a plan, there's no direction. It reinforced my beliefs about the educability of all students and how collaborative making a mission and making a direction for a school can be, especially if it's followed through upon. A couple of these pictures are proof of how I practice within Standard 1. Additionally, I won't do this for everyone, but there's links to other documents within this. In Standard 2, this one's of course close to my heart because I am a teacher and I have been for the majority of my career. I think Standard 2 promises that instruction and learning are the fundamental reason for education, and having professional development that supports that is also important as the school leader. I believe that instruction as the second standard is important because it's supposed to prepare students for a diverse individual world outside of school. These screenshots, of course, also are places in which I was able to practice Standard 2 between observations, building a master schedule that was coherent for students, talking about lesson planning and classroom management as well. Standard 3 was one I kind of forgot about as I became an instructional practicer. I forgot how much a school leader has to manage the situation, manage the building, manage the mission, manage the instructional design, manage the safety, manage the security. There's a lot of ways in which Standard 3 is a part of any kind of operation. And what I mostly liked about it was that it promised for innovation. Leaders get to be innovative within the standard about reevaluating the way systems have been done in the past. Again, more artifacts to prove my practice within Standard 3. In Standard 4, this was, of course, talking about the school leader's relationship with school community members and the intersections between academics, social partnerships, relationships with families as well. I want to say that this is one of the most important standards, just because so much of what a school can kind of garner its success on is how much the community plays a part in its institution. Again, more examples of this practice within my work. Standard 5 is probably my favorite standard, just because it's one of the reasons I got into education. Expecting kids to be moral students can only be done if we model it. Treating people fairly, admitting to our mistakes, working through problems, and consistently looking for revision. More artifacts here to prove that. And Standard 6, of course, engaging in the dialogue that exists to help benefit all students and the community is extremely important. I know that I'll try to foster an active community of educators who are engaged in the issues surrounding students. Again, more practice here. So when I went to the kind of reflection here, I kind of thought about what are some things that I had some preconceptions about going into my practicum. I definitely thought that administrators did not have as much to do as teachers. No one was going to work harder than me as a teacher, and there was no way that an administrator had more to do. And I found that was absolutely the opposite. It wasn't different hours, it was, I'm sorry, it wasn't the same hours, it was just different hours. I kind of believed that administrators are really organized and they had a lot of things to do, but they were mostly just supervisors. And that teachers were really a big part of their job. So because of that, some of the preconceptions were reinforced that yes, administrators had a lot to do in a day, and that they were organized. But where it differed was I had no idea how much really went into this job. Everything goes into this, all the way from making simple flyers to impacting school board decisions. And that can all be done in one day. So that was a big problem. Not a problem, but a preconception that differed. As I found, it was not fewer hours, it was just different hours. There's way more legal considerations than I had even been aware of. And I found that there's definitely a morale curtain between administrators and teachers. So being a teacher that was working with administrators, I felt that more perceptively throughout my practicum here, which led me to some analysis and conjecture about time and trust between administrators and teachers. My conjecture, I asked, what's the role an administrator plays in fostering decentralized and or independent staff leadership? What's the role or function of the work that an administrator performs? Is low morale attributed to ideas of time? And how can a school leader trust teachers with distributed leadership while also maintaining considerations of their time? Teachers don't have any time, but how can they still be used effectively in the operational management, but yet also feel a part of the decision making? So I looked into my analysis. Theories of time were kind of inconsistent between administrators and teachers. Their low morale in the building was a result of miscommunication and mistrust. Teachers had to pursue being leaders in the building. It wasn't innate or built into our system. So there was this divide between what the administrator thought needed to be done and not wanting to burden the teacher. But then they were working in kind of against each other, because teachers want to be a part of the decision making. They want to be asked to be part of it. And that was a big problem. Administrators also need help. So asking teachers to be a part of this is paramount. As part of my synthesis, my goal would obviously be to honor the time of staff and improve morale, but give staff members a controlling stake, maybe taking away some of the daily duties of the secondary educator, giving those to parents, and asking a variety of different teachers to be leaders in the school, that their duties would be outside of school, supervising, helping, making, creating, rotating leadership positions, and promoting the teacher as a valued member of the community in multiple ways. That concludes my building portfolio reflection. Thank you to Fort Hays State for a fantastic